Greetings, fellow night owls and thrill seekers. Gather round because I have a spine-chilling, hair-raising, and somewhat hilarious tale to share with you. This isn't just any ghost story. Oh no, this is the true account of a humble graffiti artist, yours truly. And a night that went from artistic bliss to sheer terror faster than you can say, boo. Picture this. It's a warm summer night in 2012. My buddy Lucas and I decided to hit up some old train tracks I found on Google Maps. You see, I'm a graffiti artist, also known as a delinquent, depending on who you ask. But let's stick with artist for now. Lucas, my loyal sidekick, isn't much into tagging, but he loves to come along for the adventure and, well, the weed. So there we were, the clock just nudging past 10 p.m., smoking a joint and walking alongside an old, rusty freight train. And let me tell you, this train was a canvas waiting for my masterpiece. Surprisingly, there wasn't a single tag on it. Jackpot. I tossed Lucas a can of paint, which he promptly ignored, preferring to roll another joint. Meanwhile, I got to work, my creative juices flowing as I sprayed my signature tag onto the pristine metal. I had just finished my third tag when I flung my empty paint cans back the way we came, enjoying the clattering sound they made, like a mini symphony for a vandal. But then, the night took a turn for the creepy. Out of nowhere, we heard a muffled clang. Now, this wasn't your typical nighttime noise. No, this was the sound of something, or someone, picking up my discarded paint cans. Lucas and I froze, staring into the darkness like deer caught in headlights. My heart was pounding faster than a techno beat. We waited, and nothing happened. Just as I started to think we were imagining things, I whipped out my phone and recorded a video for proof. You know, just in case we needed evidence for our inevitable feature on a paranormal TV show. Suddenly, we heard it again. Another clang, followed by a voice shouting, "You better not trip, boy." And if that wasn't enough to scare the pants off us, a gunshot rang out, sending us both into full-on panic mode. We ran like our lives depended on it because, well, they might have. The tracks led us to a main road, and we didn't stop running until we were far, far away from the nightmare. Now, most people would consider that a sign to never return, but not me. A few weeks later, curiosity got the best of me, and I went back, during the day of course, and armed with my trusty Glock 17. The train was still there, but my beautiful tags were covered with ugly red paint. Who does that? Defacing someone else's art. How rude. I ventured further and found a train car with its door wide open. Inside, there was a single chair surrounded by ropes and chains, and the whole place reeked of bleach. It was like stepping into a low-budget horror movie set. Just as I was about to snap a photo, I heard another metal clang. Nope, not today, Satan. I was out of there faster than you can say haunted. I've told this story countless times, and no one can explain the crazed, gun-toting, paint-hating ghost or maniac we encountered. Was it a homeless person with a vendetta? A psycho with too much time on their hands? Or perhaps the ghost of a disgruntled artist, furious that I dare to tag their turf? Who knows? The most disturbing part of this whole saga was that chair in the middle of the train car. It haunts my dreams. Sometimes, late at night, I can still hear that gunshot echoing in my ears. I've sworn off tagging train tracks, and Lucas has become a full-time stoner, convinced our brush with the supernatural was a sign to chill out permanently. But for some reason, the thrill of tagging never left me. Sure, I avoided train tracks for a while, but that didn't stop me from finding other, safer locations. My spray can and I have been inseparable since that night. Lucas, on the other hand, wasn't so easily convinced to come back. He'd traded his sidekick status for that of a highly experienced herbal relaxation expert. His words, not mine. Still, I valued our friendship too much to let him off the hook that easily. Fast forward a few months, and there I was, itching to paint again. Lucas, probably feeling some nostalgic pull, or maybe it was the weed, decided he'd join me. However, this time, we opted for an old abandoned factory on the outskirts of town. It was a place that looked like it hadn't seen a soul in decades, which made it the perfect canvas for my art, and hopefully, ghost-free. We arrived just before midnight, the moon casting long, eerie shadows over the dilapidated structure. The walls were already covered in tags, but I knew I could outdo them all. Lucas, being the brave soul he is, lit up his joint and offered me some creativity enhancement. Remembering our last escapade, I declined, figuring I needed all my wits about me. The factory creaked and groaned as we made our way inside. Rusty old machines stood like ancient sentinels, watching our every move. There was a certain vibe to the place, one that made you feel like you were being watched. Lucas joked that the machines probably had it in for us, angry that we'd invaded their territory. We laughed it off, but you could tell neither of us wanted to be the first to walk away. As I got to work spraying my signature tag on the old walls, I started to relax. The adrenaline rush of painting took over, and for a while, I forgot about ghosts and gunshots. The world outside faded away, leaving only the sound of the spray can and my thoughts. Just as I was finishing my masterpiece, a loud clang echoed through the factory. Lucas jumped, nearly dropping his joint. "Not again," he groaned. I turned, half expecting to see our gun-toting friend from the train tracks making a surprise appearance. But there was nothing, just shadows and the eerie silence of the night. We waited, listening, hearts pounding like drums. Then it happened again. Clang. This time closer. My fight-or-flight instincts kicked in, and I knew we had to move. "Run?" Lucas asked, eyes wide. "Run," I confirmed, and we bolted. We made it to the exit just as the clanging turned into a cacophony of noise, like 100 angry spirits had been awakened from their slumber. Bursting out into the cool night air, we didn't stop running until we were safely away from the factory. Leaning against a street lamp, catching our breath, we couldn't help but laugh. It was the kind of nervous laughter that comes after narrowly escaping something you can't quite explain. "Think it was ghosts?" Lucas asked, still wheezing. "Maybe," I replied, grinning despite myself. "Or maybe the machines just really didn't like my art." The factory, it seems, had its own tale to tell. Rumor has it that years ago a fire broke out, leaving the place a burnt-out husk of its former self. Some say the workers never left, their spirits trapped in an endless loop of night shifts and assembly lines. Others claimed it was just the wind playing tricks on us. Whatever the truth, our encounter added a new chapter to the legend. Locals now talk about the ghostly graffiti artist and his stoner friend who brought the spirits back to life. And me? Well, I've decided to take a break from the midnight painting sessions. Maybe stick to daylight hours and well-lit areas, at least for now. Lucas, meanwhile, is back to being a full-time herbal relaxation expert. He claims the experience gave him a new perspective on life, though I suspect it's just a good excuse to avoid anything remotely spooky. But every now and then, when the moon is full and the city sleeps, I find myself itching for another adventure. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll return to those haunted tracks, armed with a spray can and a healthy dose of caution. Until then, I'll stick to telling tales and keeping an eye on the shadows, just in case. So, next time you hear a clang in the dark or feel a cold breeze on a still night, remember my story. Sometimes, the ghosts of history are closer than you think, and they might just be admiring your art from the other side. And there you have it, folks. My own chilling yet oddly hilarious encounter with the supernatural world of graffiti and ghostly antics. It's a night I won't soon forget, and I hope it keeps you both amused and a little on edge. After all, what's life without a little mystery and a touch of the paranormal? Until next time, keep your paint cans close, your friends closer, and your wits about you. You never know when you might find yourself face to face with the unknown. Stay safe, stay spooky, and keep those spray cans ready. You never know what or who might be watching.